If we could just reflect on the most recent development, it is a True Social post from the president who echoed J.D. Vance in saying Iran will agree to have major weapons inspections in order to ensure nuclear honesty. Sounds familiar. Sounds like 2015, does it not?
It does. Congratulations, you're back to the JCPOA. Wow. And I think we have to take this in very measured steps. First and foremost, it will be great to get the IAEA back into Iran to see exactly what the state of play is. But I think we have to be extremely cautious. The Iranian regime is not going to allow the transparency that we're going to desire. Even when the IAEA was allowed in, we know that they were, hiding their enriched uranium in some of their nuclear facilities. So I think we have to be cautious. This is a good step. Let's get in there. But this is not going to be what we insist on, a really robust, transparent regime to understand what they've been doing.
Well, talk to us about the difference between being on the ground and being able to watch from space. The president likes to talk about the cameras. We have cameras, the satellites he's talking about, that are so powerful you can count the dimples on a golf ball, is what we are told. Why do we need people on the ground to find these things?
Because, Joe, a lot of what Iran did was underground. The storage of their missiles, their drones, their nuclear centrifuges. And that's, recall, the president always talks about nuclear dust. In that, the 12-day war last year, it was to those bunker busters to crush and annihilate. We don't know what has been destroyed or entombed. And so you really do need the physicality of inspectors going in, and it could be the dirt removal. It's going to be extremely dangerous, extremely intrusive, and that's what I caution, that allowing IAE inspectors into a country right now where the regime is cracking down on everybody, it's a dangerous position to be in.
Wow. Well, and on your point on dirt removal, the president has suggested a number of times that it's only the U.S. and China that have the capability and equipment required to actually go in and get the quote-unquote nuclear dust. So we can't even guarantee that the IAEA is going to be able to easily get sight on that.
Absolutely. And you're hearing through the initial phases of some of the negotiations before they made it to Switzerland about doing this, in situ, in presence. They don't know what is there. And we honestly don't know if some of the HEU was not removed from those locations. I mean, with full respect, the satellites are exceptional. Yeah. We can see a lot, but it's not perfect.
It's not being there.
You need to be there and be there persistently. I think that's the most important part.
Talk to us about the importance of this deconfliction line or deconfliction cell, as it's being referred to avoid incidents and miscommunication, to keep the Strait open. We have successfully used similar technology with the Soviets, now again with Russia. Is this maybe the best thing to come out of this session?
Well, I think the best thing to come out of the session was actually they're starting to break down structurally these working groups to get experts working in these different things. At this point, we need to get this out of a vice presidential level negotiation. This one image of Vice President Vance on his laptop, like he was doing this himself. I'm like, whoa. Let's put the experts on these very specific technical issues. I mean, we're all trying to figure out what in situ removal looks like. Yeah. You need those experts in there. But this deconfliction, I mean, Joe, you're right. I mean, we always want adversaries to have communication lines, so if something happens, we don't quickly escalate or misinterpret something. Sure. Always important. But I find it so difficult. Those original sort of hotlines were being used quietly, privately. We have megaphone hotlines in the form of social media, and that's what got us in this crossfire over the weekend. And that's the discipline that everybody needs to show. We have incredible amounts of work to do in 60 days. Yeah. You need to get down to work, get this as detailed as possible. But meanwhile, Iran's being paid to open up the strait, to put pressure on Lebanon. We're really not getting to the nuclear part. So they're being rewarded without really touching the nuclear part, other than letting IAEA inspectors in, and that's what should have been happening, for years.
Well, it's important that you phrase it that way, Heather, because we've been told repeatedly by defenders of what the president is trying to do with this interim deal, including Republican senators on the Hill, that this is a pay-for-performance plan, that Iran doesn't get anything unless they take a specific action. But you're suggesting that, well, the performance is still lacking. The payments have already begun.
Absolutely. I mean, Treasury just elicited that they're going to get revenue from the sanctions. That's why the Strait will remain open. We need the energy prices to continue to be low. They need to get the relief and the financial relief, and of course, the Gulf countries also need to get those exports. No, we're paying for maintaining an energy price that can be, reflective here politically, but we're paying them. And the more Iran places pressure on the Strait or on Lebanon, which corners Israel in such an untenable position. They're controlling the narrative right now. This is their negotiation, the Strait and Lebanon. I feel like the second part of the negotiation gets to what we need, focused on the nuclear, but again, nothing on proxies, nothing on ballistic missiles. We need to get that back into the negotiation channel.
Do we need to keep this full military force in place for at least the next 60 days to maintain leverage?
Joe, you are absolutely right. And this is the other sort of question we're not. I mean, the cost of this pretty significant military presence is going to have to stay. I think they have to stay in the next 60 days to ensure some compliance.
What kind of signal would that send if we sent a carrier strike group somewhere else, home or somewhere else in the world?
It would signal to the Iranians this is over, and they can continue to leverage their proxy networks, put pressure on the region. The problem is we cannot sustain this posture. We don't know the exact figure that the Pentagon is spending per day on this, but we do know that the budgets are tough, trainings are being rescheduled. I mean, this has been an unfunded, unbudgeted military operation, and this is where the reckoning will come into the costs of this 4-month conflict. The military costs, the economic costs, and sometimes when you alleviate the pressure, those costs really come to being, and a lot of folks are going to have to decide, was this worth it? I think they're going to question mark, did we really get the results we needed?
Well, and there's also opportunity costs 100%. To consider, including where the U.S. is directing its attention. It is Iran and the Middle East that have taken up a lot of oxygen versus, say, Ukraine and the ongoing war with Russia. The president did suggest at the G7 last week that he wants to shift his focus to ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. And I wonder, Heather, in our final minute, if you think that may spell a better meeting this time around for the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte as he comes to meet with Trump on Wednesday in Washington.
All eyes. Right now, I mean, the president's anger is against our European NATO allies. This incredible spat between Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and the president. This is where, are you attacking our allies, or are we attacking the mutual problem? But I will say on a positive note, in our last few seconds here, the president did seem to be receptive to the Europeans saying, hey, I think the Ukrainians are starting to turn the corner here. Let's get on the winning side. And he seemed to be more open to that. So I'm going to hope for the positive. But I am worried about this July 7th, 8th NATO summit, particularly Secretary Hegseth's comments last week in Europe. Don't attack our allies. Attack the problem together.
Interesting how the president wants to be aligned with a winner, though, in this case, right? You wonder if the more advanced Ukraine can make here, the more pro-Ukrainian Donald Trump may be.
Well, they're making some great headway in Crimea. They are really affecting the Russian economy. But this is going to get worse before it gets better. But we like where it's going right now.